Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And good day to all of you. Okay, first of all, I would like to apologize because I'm not able to do our lecture class on Sunday. However, today I managed to do a recording for our next chapter, which is on the chapter 8 on the operation management for business startup. Okay, so if you still remember, last week we have covered the chapter 7, which is on the marketing plan. So we have gone through all the content that is required on the marketing plan topics, okay, which mean which you are required to do in your business plan. So today I would like to proceed to the next chapter in your business plan, which are operations management or operational plan. Okay, so this is the synopsis. This chapter provides the basic knowledge on how to manage operation of a business startup and small businesses. It covers managing inputs, processes, and outputs that involve planning of product design, process design, location choice and layout design, production capacity planning, and management of production schedule and cost, inventory and quality management. So, by looking at the synopsis of this chapter, okay, you can see that there are many things that will happen during the operational process. Okay, so before I forget, this is actually a revised version of PowerPoint slide, which is slightly different with the one that I already uploaded in the eCampus. So this is the new version, which more focus on the material that is required in your business plan report, so that you will have a specific guideline on how to do this apa ni subtopic or the content of your operational plan in your business plan later on, especially on the operational plan. So that's why I have to do some modification on the PowerPoint slide to help you to serve as a guideline for you later on to do the business plan. Okay, so please refer to the new slide that I will upload later on the eCampus. Alright, so these are the objectives to introduce operations management and to discuss product design, process design, location choice, layout design, production capacity planning and management of production schedule and cost, inventory and quality management. So these are the learning outcome. At the end of this chapter, students be able to discuss basic operation management, especially for small business startup, and also discuss and apply knowledge on operation management to their entrepreneurial practicum. Okay, so before we proceed with the operational process, we need to define what is operation. Okay, so do you have any idea on what is operational? When we look at the word of operation, okay, operation that involves something that is going on in the business that is required by the operation, that is required by the implementation, by the machine, by the peoples. Okay, so operation is one of an important function in a business organization. Because what? Because of you have done um, the overview part in your business plan. Okay, you already identify what kind of business that you want to do. You already highlight the vision mission of your company, and next you proceed with the marketing plan. Okay, you already identify who is your target customer, your market size, your market share, your sales forecast, and also you already identify the products of your company that want to produce, and then the price, the placing, and the promotion. So next, what's next? Okay, it's all about planning. So now it is time for us to start to run the operation, to start to run the manufacturing process. Okay, which is to transfer the raw material to become the output, to become our product. Okay, so that is why operation is very important in the business organization, because in the operation whereby we transform the idea that have been identified by the administrative plan, by the marketing plan, we will transform this idea to become the end product. Okay, so this is what will happen in the operational process. So managing operation is crucial to make sure that the business is able to produce product or deliver services according to the specification, quality and time specified by the customer. Okay, so it is very important for us or for the company to make sure that the business is able to produce product or deliver service according to the specification, quality and time. Okay, to make sure that the number of order is um, always continuous and there is no shortage of output, shortage of product, because when it happens, okay, when the product is short in the market, so customer will seek for the alternative. Customer will go to buy your competitors' product. So we don't want this thing to happen. So that's why it is crucial for the company to make sure that the business is able to produce product according to the specification, quality and time specified by the customer. Alright, so operation management can be defined as the process of marshalling business input to transform them into output in the form of product or services. So when you see the words here, okay, operation management defined as the process of marshalling business input, okay, whereby under the process of marshalling business input, whereby it takes a lot of operational processes here. Where we want to transform the raw material to become the final product. So this is what we mean under operation management. Okay, to transform the business input, the raw material, to become the end product or the output in the form of product or services. Okay, so the component in an operation system. Alright, the component of an operation system that is involved in the transformation of business input into output comprises of the following. So these are the components. As what I had mentioned earlier, I've mentioned the business input, okay, or the raw materials, okay, the transformation process, which is the processes in order to transform the raw material to become the end product, okay, any kind of processes lah, including if you want to bake a cake or you want to sell a cake in the market. So the transformation process is a process to bake a cake. So that's what we mean by transformation process. And the output is the cake, alright, the end product, the product or services. And the feedback is actually from the customers, from the suppliers, okay, feedback from the output that you have been produced, okay, in the company, and also the external environment, okay, the surrounding of the company. So these are the components. Alright, these are the schematic diagram of an operation system. The component of an operation system can be portrayed in the schematic diagram as shown below. Okay, so we started with input. Okay, then the input transform into the transformation process. Either you want to cook, you want to bake, or you want to cut, to slice, or anything. We call it under the transformation process. Then send to the output, which is the end product. So from the output, then we will get the feedback, okay, and also from the output, also being influenced by the external environment factors. Okay, for example, the first one here is feedback. So let's say if the output is very good, so it means that we need to increase the capacity, okay, of or increase the volume of the production, the product. Okay, so we go to the transformation process. But if the product is said to be there is some lacking, there is some inferior, there is something that you need to change, okay, so from the feedback we will go back to the output. Alright, so when we look here about the output to the external environment factor, it means that the output is being influenced by the external environment factors. So what are the external environment factors? Including the political, the economical, the social, the technological, and also the competitors. So for example, you are producing a product of, let's say, um, um, let's say a chocolate or a cake, for example. Okay, so one day, okay, the extent about the external environment, we have political, economical, social, technological, and so competitors. One day, the government, okay, highlighted that we need to stay healthy. Okay, so in order to keep our citizen healthy, the government have to increase the price of the chocolate or the sweet or the dessert, for example. Okay, so when this thing happen, let's say the government has to increase the price of the cake or the price of the chocolate, okay, it will directly impact to the business. So if the price is increasing, okay, so the demand will be slightly decreasing. So that's why we need to do something here. Maybe we have to reduce the number of production here, and also maybe we have to do some modification in our existing product, whereby maybe we can do some replacement to replace from sugar to the stevia, for example, something that is healthier according to the external environment factors. So, which means for the external environment factors, these factors is uncontrollable and they will directly give impact to our output. So that's why when um, when there is changes in terms of the external environment factors, so the company needs to do some modification on the operational plan. Okay. So these are the some overview of the operation plan in your business plan. Okay. Okay, the operation plan is the one of the section that included in the business plan. This section will demonstrate the operational aspect of the business that is crucial in transforming the business input into output. Alright, the operation plan will ensure the business is able to produce the product or to provide the services that the business had planned in the marketing plan. So what I have told you earlier. Okay, so under the operation plan, we want to make sure that we want to transform all the ideation that is being generated by the administrative plan, that is being generated by the marketing plan. So this is where you want to make it real, okay, where you want to transform this idea to become the output. Okay. So the operation plan comprises of the following topic. So these are the topic that is required in the operation plan. Okay, we started with process planning. Next is operations layout, production planning, material planning, machine and equipment planning, manpower planning, overhead requirement, location plan, business and operation hours, and also operation budget. Okay. Okay. Okay, so I don't think I have to explain the term one by one here. However, we will go through next on the next slide. Okay, so the process planning. Okay, the process planning involves the identification of the step-by-step processes from beginning to end in making the product or in providing the services. Okay, so it is step-by-step in order how to make a cake, how to make a product, how to make a chocolate, how to cut hair from the customer, how to serve food to the customer, how to give education to the customer, for example. So this is the process, a step by step. So step one, What do you need to do? Step 2, next proceed to step 3, step 4. See, this is what we mean by the process planning. Okay. For manufacturing business, the process involved will be explained clearly, such as the activity involved, its duration, and the equipment used. Okay, so for the manufacturing, because manufacturing involved with something to produce an output whereby we can see the end product, okay, for the manufacturing business. So that's why it is clearly explained. Okay, we can see the activity involved in order to produce that product. For example, how many times to produce the product and what are the equipment that is required in order to transform this raw material to become the output that we want to sell in the market. Alright, for service business, the process planning will explain all the steps that should be taken from start to finish to provide the service to the customer. Alright, so as for the services, it's slightly different because these services will not produce the output, or the physical product to the customer, but we will try but under the process planning for services, it's all about to identify the step that should be taken by the company in order to deliver the service from the beginning until the end. So contohnya, for example, you want to give a massage, or you want to open up a spa. Okay, so under the spa business, we have massage, we have sauna, for example. So let's say massage. Okay, so massage is totally a service, okay, whereby we don't produce the output, we don't produce the product for the massage. So under process planning for massage, okay, you need to identify what are the steps to be taken in order to give massage to the customer. Okay, so first maybe you need to greet the customer, and then second maybe you need to do some explanation to describe briefly describe about the massage. Okay, and then ask the customer to choose which package that they want. Okay, and then ask the customer to go to the changing room to to change for the suitable clothes for the massage process, and then ask the customer to lay down in the bed, for example, and so on. So there is the differences lah between manufacturing and also service under the process planning, right? So the step-by-step processes can be illustrated using diagram such as flowchart or process chart. Okay, the process chart will use symbols that are universally recognized in the operation management field. Okay, so these symbols are used in the job activity chart to show a worker's activities. So these are the symbols that have been used by the operational management field. Ini adalah valid symbol that we can use in the operational process chart. Alright, so the circle symbol here, it means that it is an operation. So what does it mean by operation? Activity that involve with modifying, transforming, or giving added value to the input. So under operation, so anything that is later, okay, you will identify the process in order to produce your product. For example, you want to produce a bomboloni, kan? Okay, I noticed some of my student, one of the group want to sell bomboloni. Okay, so you need to identify what are the steps taken in order to produce one piece of bomboloni. Alright, so under operation, okay, if you want to, let's say, mix the butter, or if you want to, let's say, cut the material, for example, it involves under operation. Anything that is give value, that is involved with modifying, transforming the raw materials, okay, it fall under operation. So the second symbol is the arrow shape here. Okay, it means for transportation, whereby the movement of material or goods from one place to another. So let's say let's say in the case of bomboloni just now, okay, if you already make the bomboloni, put in a shape, circle shape of bomboloni, and then you already next step you want to fill up the what you call it the jam inside the bomboloni, for example. So you have to move the bomboloni from section A to section B in order to um, to fill up the jam inside the bomboloni. So there is a movement. So you need to use the arrow shape here, okay, to signify the movement of material or good from one place to another, from one section to another section. And then the symbol of the shape of a square here, it means the inspection. Alright, activity that measure the standard or quality. Okay, so let's say once the bombolini has been filled up with the jam, next is the inspection, whereby you want to check whether the right quantity amount of jam has been filled up or not, whether the bombolini is in a right shape or not. So that is under inspection. So you need to use the square shape, right? So next step is the D shape here. It means the delay. So it means that the process is delayed because in process material are waiting for next activity. Alright. For example, so under the case of bomboloni just now, okay, let's say you already apa ni, you already bake, or no bake, already make the bomboloni, but you have to wait for the jam, for example. Okay, so while waiting for the jam to be ready, okay, so put the bomboloni under the delay. Okay, keep it in the freezer, for example. So you must use the symbol of delay. For example, if you are waiting in the waiting process, so please use the symbol of D. Alright, then we have the triangles here, the upside down triangle. It means the storage. Okay, so once the bombolini is ready, okay, maybe you want to put it under the storage first. So must use the symbol of triangles here. So finished product or goods are stored in the storage area or warehouse. Alright. So nanti in your business plan report, you have to do the process planning by having this kind of symbols, okay, on your report. Okay. So this is the example of flow chart. Okay, flow chart for the production of mixed fruit jelly. Okay, so if you can see here, the flow chart, we don't have symbol because this is flow chart. Okay, but for the activity chart, then you must use the symbol. Okay, so there is the differences between flow chart and also activity chart. As for the flow chart, you just need to identify steps taken in order to do the processes of producing the product. Okay, so you don't need to put the symbol under the flow chart. Okay, you just need to just a small error to show the sequence of the processes. So let's say here flowchart for the production of mixed fruit jelly, whereby the first step is to transfer the fruit from the store to the production area. And then next step is check the quality of the fruit and segregate the bad fruit. Okay, so next step, clean the fruit under running water. So next step, put the fruit into the fruit chopper for chopping process, and seterusnya. Okay, so under the production processes, okay, there will be two chart, flow chart and also activity chart. So next kita tengok, let's take a look at the activity chart. But this one activity chart for website design, for web designing services. Okay. So this is services. So under services, let's say you are doing the web designing services. Okay, so these are the process. Greet the client, invite the client into the discussion room. Okay, the symbol that they use here is the symbol of circles. Okay, still remember the circle? It means the operation. Okay, So under the operation, greet the client, invite the client, get the relevant information. Okay. Actually, under services, okay, for the activity chart under services, okay, the symbols only take place the symbol of operation, the symbol of circle, because services we cannot keep the service, we cannot delay the service, we cannot what else, storage the service. So service must operation because services directly to the customer. So okay, so once the customer come into your company, come into your shop for example, so that is when you start to operate. Okay, so that's why under the activities chart for services, that is why we only see the circle symbol of operation here. Okay, next, okay, we want to proceed with the operations layouts. So operational layout also you must do in your operational plan. So what is operations layout? It is illustrate the layout of the operation. Okay, layout refers to the arrangement of machine, equipment, workers, and other facility used in the operation. The layout must be designed in such a way that the production of goods and services can be done smoothly and efficiently. There are three types of layouts. Okay, layout based on process, based on product, layout based on marketing. Okay, so layout ni arrangement, susun atur. Okay, where you want to put this machine, where you want to put this equipment, where you want to put the sink, where you want to put the um, the apa ni the box for example. So you must design, okay, design the layout of operation so that the operation will run smoothly. Okay, but there are three type of layout. Okay, you must choose which one is the most suitable for your product or services. Okay, so kita tengok type of layout number one, which is layout based on products. Okay, so this type of layout is suitable for a business that has a product focus or continuous flow production. Okay, the design of the layout is made according to the sequence of activities to produce the product. Sorry, typo here. To produce the product. Okay, example of a business that has this kind of layout is a food processing factory. Okay, so for the product layout based on product, okay, is a sequence or continuous flow of production. Okay, so which means the company or the business will try to arrange the machine according to the flow of production. Okay, so that is why the first thing in the operation plan, you need to identify the production process. The process after you have identified the process in order to produce this product, next you must arrange the equipment, arrange the layout in the operational plan so that the transformational process will run smoothly. Okay, but for the product under layout based on product, okay, suitable for product that is have continuous flow of production. So maknanya the product doesn't need to wait for a certain part. Okay, the product in order to produce the product, they must go through the sequence. Okay, so that is why the suitable business to use the layout based on product is a food processing factory, for example. Okay, so this is the sample of layout based on product. Okay, so if you can see here, this is the layout of fruit jelly just now. Okay, in the previous example that I showed to you earlier. Okay, so the first step is involved with the receiving area. Okay, whereby we will get the fresh fruit in the receiving area. Okay, so next step is to clean the fruit. So receiving area must be side by side with the fruit cleaning area. So that the process will run smoothly lah. Okay, takkanlah you nak letak receiving area here, and then fruit cleaning here, then go to the chopper here, so it will mess up. Okay, so that's why kena you must arrange the layout according to the process flow. Okay, so the second flow is the cleaning process. So you must make sure that the cleaning area beside the receiving area, so tak jauh lah. Okay, and then after the fruit has been cleaned, okay, next process is the fruit getting chopped. Okay, so fruit chopper beside the fruit cleaning area. Okay, so after chop the fruit, and then transport the fruit into the steaming area. So after the steaming area, transport the fruit into the filling area, and last but not least is the finished goods storage to keep the fruit jelly that have been done, okay, under the storage. So that is the processes involved in the layout based on product. Next layout is based on process. Okay, so even though the name of this layout is process, but it is not actually follow the sequence. The sequence only based on product. Okay, but process is not according to the sequence. Okay, this layout is suitable for a business that produce several products using similar processes. For example, um, manufacturing company that produce furniture, for example, wood furniture. So under the wood furniture, under the factory of wood furniture, for example, there is section of cutting the wood. Okay, and then there is a section of apa ni? Stick the wood, okay, using a special glue, for example, and then there is special of craving the wood, for example, craving, okay, nak cravekan dia kan, okay, so according to the process that involved. Alright, so this type of layout is designed based on the similarity of processes, whereby machine and equipment that perform similar function will be grouped together. Okay, so example of business with this type of layout is steel workshop and a tailor store. Okay, kita tengok the example here. Okay, for examples, okay, if you can see here, under the layout based on process, there is no sequence, there is no flow. Okay, the layout under based on process ni, whereby the company will try to arrange the machine according to the function, according to the process of the machine. Okay, so we can see here it is a milling machine. Okay, and then there is a grinding machine, and then there is a drilling machine. So if the product are required to do some drilling, okay, so take the product, go to the drilling machine, and then settle, then put in under storage. Okay, so if the product are required to grind, okay, so take the raw material to go to the grinding machine, and then once finish with the grinding, okay, take the product, put in the storage area. So this is what we mean by the layout based on process, whereby there is no sequence, there is no flow of production, but only the company will arrange, okay, to group the machine according to the similar function. So for example here, there are three machines that is can be used to do the milling process. Okay, and then there are three machines that can be used for the grinding process. So they arrange it here beside the office, for example, and there are three machines for the drilling process. Okay, so this is what we mean by layout based on process. Alright, next is layout based on marketing. Alright, so under layout based marketing is designed with the intention to maximize the area available to display goods. Okay, example of layout based on marketing can be observed in the retail business such as bookstore or department store. Okay, so layout based on marketing, we try our best in order to showcase the product. Okay, so that's why the design with the intention to maximize the area available to display goods. Okay, so this is suitable for the company, for the retail business. Okay, so this is example of layout based on marketing. Okay, whereby retail, because retail is the third party. Okay, the third party, the intermediary, from manufacturer will sell a bulk quantity to the retailer. Okay, so retailer then will sell the product in a smaller quantity, not in a bulk. Okay, so that's why retailer also have their operation plan. We call it as a layout based on marketing. Okay, so under operation plan for retailer, basically they will not produce the product, but they want to sell the product that is being produced by the manufacturer. Okay, there are many kind of manufacturer. Okay, because yelah, in for example in supermarket in Pantai Timur, for example, okay, there are a lot of product. Okay, a variety of product, so variety of manufacturer. Okay, so we try to sort the product according to the category. Okay, and try to maximize the area so that the product will be available. Okay, can be seen by the customer. Okay, because if the product is available and what we call it, where customer can see the product, so the customer will have the intention. Okay, will trigger the customer to buy the product. So that's why the layout based on marketing is suitable for the retail business. Okay, because retail business, they do not produce the product, they do not produce the service, but they just the intermediary, they just the third man from between manufacturer and customer. Okay, so that's why retail business is suitable to use the example, to use the layout based on the marketing. Okay. And then if you want to open up a restaurant, okay, also you can use this kind of layout. Okay, so layout in a restaurant also use layout based on marketing, because the restaurant will try to serve the food to the customer. Okay, they want there will be a food display counter here, beverages. Okay, so restaurant must use the layout based on a marketing. Okay, sekejap eh. Okay, so for production planning, next, yeah, number 3, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, it is important to make sure that the business is able to produce output or to provide services that is enough to fulfill the expected market demand or sales. Okay, so under production planning, okay, we want to calculate, okay, how many quantity that is needed in order to make sure that the product is available, no shortages at all. Okay, so this is what we can do under the production planning. Okay, this can be achieved by having a good production planning. Alright, so in production planning, the business will determine how much output to produce for a certain period of time, such as in a day, a week, or a month. So under production planning, okay, the company will try to calculate, okay, how much quantity that is required in order to produce within a day, within a week, within a month. Okay, so kita nak tahu berapa banyak kuantiti yang diperlukan oleh company, okay, untuk produce for a certain product. Okay, so production planning must based on the sale forecast that has been generated by the marketing plan. Okay, so use that sale forecast in order to calculate the production planning. Okay, so the business may need the information from the marketing plan. Example, average sales forecast. So why we must have this kind of information? Okay, once we must use the sales forecast from the marketing in order to do the production planning. Because the marketing already do the estimation, already do the forecast. Okay, the sales forecast, the prediction on the average sales per month that is required by the company in order to achieve their target. So that's why, in order to portray, in order to make this thing happen, okay, the operation plan, okay, must use the figure calculated by the marketing plan, especially on the average sales forecast, for the to calculate for the production planning. Okay, so these are examples on how to calculate the production planning. Okay, average sale forecast per month. This is what I have told you earlier, where we must get this figure from the marketing plan. Okay, how you get the average sale forecast per month? Total up the sale forecast for that year. Okay, let's say the sale forecast for that year is 120,000, for example. 120,000 divided by 12. Okay, because in 1 year we have 12 months, so 120,000 divided by 12, then you will get 10,000 per month for the average sale forecast. Okay, so that is how to calculate the average sale forecast per month. So in my case here, for example, the average sale forecast per month is 25,200 ringgit. And then price per unit. How do you get this price per unit? From the marketing plan also. They already calculated the price for selling the product. So get the price from the marketing plan. So let's say in my case, the price per unit is 15 ringgit. And then the number of output is actually 1,680 ringgit unit. So you divide the sale forecast per month divide by the price per unit, then you will get the number of output per month. The number of unit that must be produced within a month. Okay, maknanya dalam satu bulan, the company must produce this figure. Must produce 1,680 unit in order to achieve the targeted sales. Okay. Next, if the number of working days per month is 24 days, the amount of output to be produced per day is 1,680 divided by 24 days, then you will get 70 units per day to produce. Okay. So the number of working days per month it depend on the company. Okay, some company are operating continuously without having break day. Okay, but some company have off day. Okay, so you must calculate how many days per month that the company are working. Okay, in order to get the number of unit to produce per day. So this is the example. Simple je. Okay, so under production planning pun you must do in your operational plan. Okay, referring to my example here. Next is the material planning. Okay, so how you going to plan for the material? Okay, after you already identify how many unit, okay, that must be produced within a day. Okay, next you must calculate the material that is required in order to produce the 70 units per day, for example. Okay, material planning is done to determine the type and amount of raw material need for the production. So yang under the material planning, whereby you must identify the raw material required in order to produce the product. Bahan-bahannya ialah the ingredients, macam itulah. Okay, material required to produce that product. So material planning involve 4 steps. Macam mana nak buat material planning? The first one, identify and list down the raw material required. Okay, identify. Okay, kena identify dulu in order to produce bomba ni. For example, what are the material required? Maybe you want to have you need to have flour, sugar, salt, some salt. Okay, maybe some baking powder. And then what else? Water, for example. Okay, identify and list down. Okay, next, prepare the bill of material. Okay, later I will show you the example of the bill of material. Simple je. Okay, next is calculate the quantity of raw material required. Okay, so after you have identified the raw material required, next is you need to identify the quantity. Okay. Next is identify the supplier of raw material. So dah identify the quantity of raw material, berapa banyak diperlukan to produce that product. Next is identify supplier. Okay, daripada mana? From where we must buy the raw material? From which shop, for example? Okay. So usually in manufacturing business, the raw material used is easily identified. Okay. In manufacturing business or in manufacturing business whereby the company is producing a product, okay, it's very easy to identify the raw materials. Okay, for example, to manufacture pencils, raw material needed are hollow wood, lead, eraser, metal band, paint, glue, and packaging box. Okay, in case of retail business, the raw material is known as goods. Okay, the business need to estimate the amount of initial goods to be purchased to start the business operation. So in the case of retail business that I've been explained to you, for example, retail business like supermarket, the grocery store, okay, the raw material is known as the good. All the product, all the good that they want to sell in the shop is said to be the raw materials. Okay. So the bills of material will contain a complete list of material, part or component and the amount needed to produce a unit of product. Okay. To prepare the bill of material, the entrepreneur must understand the design of the product. Okay, this bill of material is important information for purchasing activity. So this is example of bill of material. Okay, so this is the detail. Okay, kalau on the first step whereby you just identify mana tadi? Okay, just identify and list down the raw material. But under the bill of material is actually the detail, the specific list of the raw materials. Okay, for example, if you want to have if you are required to have a flour, for example, so what kind of flour, which brand, okay, how much, that is under bill of materials. Okay, for example here we have product number, okay, the description, the specification and so the quantity. This is the quantity in order to produce 1 unit of product. Okay. So to produce a unit of pencil, the bill of material is as follows. Alright, next is material requirement schedules. Okay. This is example of material requirement schedule. Also, you must do in your business plan report under the operation plan. Okay, so after you have identified the raw material that is required to produce the product, okay, next is you calculate the materials, okay, do the schedules for the material requirement. Okay, for example, let's say you required to buy flour. Okay, so you must identify the quantity. Okay, the quantity in order to produce the product in a day. Okay, so how many quantity? Let's say in order to produce 70 units of bomboloni, you are required to buy 50 kilogram flour, for example. Okay, 50 kilo of flour, and then you must have safety stock here. Okay, safety stock is 10% from the exact quantity. Okay, safety stock is 10% from the quantity. So let's say the quantity is 50 kilo. So the safety stock from the 10% is 5 kilo. Okay, so why we need to have safety stock here? Okay, this is due to let's say the company are having unexpected demand. Let's say the bomboloni went viral, for example. So there is an uh, increase in sale, increase in demand to buy the bombolo ni. So that's why safety stock, okay, the company will use the safety stock in order to use it in case of emergency. For example, in case of increase in the production output. Okay, because we already calculated the number of product that must be produced within a day. Okay, but let's say 70 units. Okay, so then one day the product went viral. Okay, so the customer are line up for your product. So it take more than 70 customer, for example, to buy the product. So we can use the safety stock in order to make the product. So we don't need to worry because there is always an extra stock. Okay, so another thing is for safety stock, let's say if the in case of emergency or in case of something bad happen to the company, or in case of something that is happen in terms of the price changes, for example, so we can use the safety stock. So no, don't need to buy the raw material for this week because we can use the safety stock because this week the price is very expensive, for example. So that is where we can use the safety stock. Okay, next is total material requirement, whereby you total up the quantity plus with the safety stock, then you will get the total material requirement, which is 55 kilos. And then time with the price per unit, which means price per 1 kilo of flour. 1 kilo of flour is 1 ringgit and 20 cent, for example. Okay, so you time 50 with 55, then you will get the 66 ringgit. Okay. Okay, so second material is sugar, for example, also required in 50 kilos. So safety stock is 5 kilos, total material is 55 kilos. So time with the 2 ringgit 80 cent per unit, then you will get the 154. Okay, then total up is 803 ringgit in order to produce uh, 70 units per day, for example. Okay. Next is machine. So after you have identified the material that is required in order to produce the product materials, okay, next step is you must identify machine and equipment that is required to produce the product. Okay, machine. Step to determine machine and equipment requirement. Number one, list out all machine and equipment required based on the process flow chart or process plan. Okay. Next is determine the amount of machine and equipment required based on the venture capacity requirement, and then identify the suppliers that are reliable in terms of price and after sales service. Okay, so how to identify the machine equipment based on the process flow chart that you have done earlier. Okay, so because under the process flow chart, you will recognize what are the process that is required to produce the product. So does these processes need to have specific machine or not? Does these processes need to have specific equipment or not? Okay, so we can identify by looking at the process flow chart. Okay, next is determine the amount of machine. Okay, how many machine and equipment required based on the venture capacity. Okay, how many machine? For example, you want to have a chopper. Okay, chopper to cut the fruit, for example. So, how many chopper that is required? Okay, nanti kita akan, later we will calculate the number of machine. Okay, and then the next step is to identify the supplier. Okay. So next is factors to be considered in purchasing machine and equipment. Alright, so because machine and equipment is not cheap. Okay, it take a lot of amount. Okay, very expensive. Okay, so that's why you need to consider these factors before you make a purchase of the machine. Okay, take a look at the price, whether it is affordable or not, within the budget of the company or not. Okay, and how about the quality and the reliability, can be used for a longer term or not. Okay, and then how about the availability of the spare part. It is very difficult for us to get the spare part of the machine in case of the breakdown of the machine, for example. Okay, and then how about the breakdown maintenance facilities. Okay, is there anyone that can help to repair the machine? And then how about the technology? Is it user friendly or not? Okay, and then the supplier reputation. Okay, reliable or not? Okay, trusted or not? Okay, and then how about the after sales services offered by the supplier? Okay, so using these factors, okay, you can normally, okay, company will ask quotation, okay, from the supplier, and then they will try to make comparison in terms of these factors. Okay, so try to do comparison with your suppliers. Okay, then choose a company that is um, scored most point lah. Okay, for example, company A. Okay, so company A, good price, good quality, um, spare part is available, breakdown, there is facilities to repair, very user friendly, very good reputation, and also offers after sales service. So supplier A is very good. So you must choose the supplier A, for example. Okay. And then these are the machine and equipment requisition planning schedule. Alright. So how many machine that is required? Let's say mixer. Okay, mixer you want to have one quantity, and this is the price of mixer. Okay, cutter you want to have two cutter, and this is the price. So how you will get the price for this machine? Um, Now we have technology advancement, whereby you just need to Google the price of this machine, then you will get the price for each of the machine. Okay, senang je Google kan. Okay, boleh je dapat estimation price of this machine. And then how to determine how to determine quantity for machine and equipment. Okay, if you can see here, quantity 1, quantity 2, quantity 1. So how do we determine the number of machine that is required for our factory? Sometimes because if you fail to do this calculation, if you fail to determine the quantity of machine and equipment, okay, then there will be a lot of wastage, and also the company are required to pay a huge amount just for the machine, but the machine are not fully utilized by the production, so it is a lot of waste. So we must avoid this kind of waste, so that's why we must do a calculation in order to determine specific quantity to calculate the machine and equipment. Okay, so determine the planned rate of production per day. Okay, planned rate of production per day is number of output that the company want to produce per day. For example, in my previous example, we want to produce 70 units per day, for example. Okay, and then determine the standard production time per unit for the planned machine. For example, chopper machine, for example. Okay, chopper machine, how many time that chopper need to have in order to chop the fruit, for example. Let's say for one unit of fruit, the chopper required about 2 minutes to chop the fruit, for example. So this is what we mean by the standard production time per unit for the plant machine. Okay, or machine of oven, for example. Okay, so for oven, uh, the duration of this oven in order to bake the cake, how many minutes, for example, for one cake. Let's say for one cake, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to produce to bake one unit of cake, for example. So this is what we mean by the standard production time per unit. And then determine the machine productive time. Okay, so how to determine the machine productive time? is operation hours. Okay, the company operation hours. Let's say your company are operating 8 hours. Okay, so 8 hours minus setting up time plus downtime. Okay, setting up time ni is the warm up time lah. Okay, warm up time whereby we will turn on the machine first. Okay, hit the machine first and then barulah kita, then later we can use the machine. That is the setting up time. Okay, but the downtime is actually the minutes or the duration that the machine required in order to uh, cool down. Okay, cool down before turn off the machine, for example. Because machine, heavy duty machine, we cannot simply just turn on, turn off. Okay, we need to give this machine the setting up time and also the downtime. Setting up time for the machine to warm up, the downtime for the machine to cooling down. Okay, so the machine productive time is operation hours minus this setting up time plus downtime. So let's say setting up time is 30 minutes. Okay, downtime also 30 minutes, so 1 hour. Okay, so 8 hours. Okay, operation hours is 8 hours. 8 hours minus 1 hour, then the machine productive time is 7 hours. Okay, and then you can calculate the amount of machine required by using the formula given in the next slide. Okay, so plan rate production per day 70. Okay, machine productive time per day, let's say 7 hours. Okay, times standard production time per unit, let's say 20 minutes in order to produce 1 unit of cake. So you calculate, then you will get the number of machine required. Okay, so let's say I calculate. Okay, 70 is actually 70 is actually the plan rate of production. 70 divide by machine productive time per day, which is 7 hours, because 8 hours is the operation hours minus the setting up and also downtime. Okay, divide by 7. Okay, then times standard production time is 20 minutes, for example, times 20 minutes. So I will get 200. So which means this company are required 200 unit of oven, for example, in order to produce 70 unit cake per day. Okay. Alright, so settle with the machine. We have already identified how to calculate the number of machine that is required in the company. Next is the manpower. How many workers that is required in the operational plan. So how to determine the amount of direct labor? Number one, determine the planned rate of production per day for the particular section of job. Okay, for example, kita dah kira 70 unit in the production planning. We want to produce 70 units per day, for example. Okay, so this one is 70. Then determine the standard time for a worker to produce 1 unit of product to complete a particular job. Okay, so this one, the number of minutes, okay, for a worker to complete a certain job. For example, these workers are required to clean the fruit, for example. Okay, to clean the fruit. So how many time? How many minutes? So let's say to clean the 1 unit of fruit, the worker are required about 2 minutes, for example. Okay, so 2 minutes. And then determine workers' productive hours. Okay, working hours per day, for example, 8 hours minus rest time or workers' idling time. Okay, rest time, for example, normally company will have about 1 hour rest time. Okay, so you will get 7 hours here for the workers' productive hours. And then calculate the amount of direct labor required using the formula here. Okay, so 70. Okay, once again 70 divided by the 7 hours. Okay, time with 2 minutes. Okay, then you get 20. So it means that the company required about 20 workers. to produce 70 units of product in a day. Okay, alright. So we have done with the material, with the machine, with the manpower. Next is the overhead requirement. So what is overhead? Okay, determine the overhead that are required in the operation. Overhead refers to requirement other than direct raw material and direct labor. Okay, example of overhead are indirect labor cost, indirect material, insurance, maintenance and utilities. Okay, so overhead ni anything that is indirectly involved in the operation plan. For example, anything that is ad hoc, that is out of sudden. Okay, let's say the product went viral. Okay, so apa ni, the company are required extra workers, extra materials, so that is considered under overheads, because that is indirect, not in a normal day, for example. Okay, insurance, maintenance and utilities. Okay, next is you must identify the location for your plan for your factory. Okay, the entrepreneur has to make decision which premise is the best for the business to operate. Choice of location is important because it will affect sales revenue, business operation cost, and also long-term investment. So this one company need to identify the location of the factory, the location of the operational process. Dekat mana nak buat operation. Okay. So there are factors that can be used to influence the choice of location for manufacturing activity. Okay, priority should be given to the cost factors. Okay, in manufacturing, cost saving would contribute to profit. Okay, so for manufacturing activities, for company that want to produce a product, okay, they will try their best to choose location that give the cost advantage. Okay, so choose location that is cheaper, and also can give cost saving to the company, because in manufacturing cost saving will contribute to profit. So um, normally, okay, company that manufacture the product, okay, will try to search for the location with a cheaper price. Okay, because the location, okay, the manufacturing location only involved with the manufacturing process. Because once the product has been produced, then the logistic company will take the product, okay, to sell to the shop that is nearby to the customer. Okay, because normally manufacturer, okay, are not focusing to sell the product directly to the customer. They only focus on producing the product, okay, but not on selling the product. So that's why manufacturer will try to seek a place or location that can give the company cost advantage, that can save some amount of cost in term of the location. Okay, but for the service, okay, in service priority should be given to distance from market or customers. Okay, we try our best, okay, for the service company, try our best to keep close to our customer, because under service activity, okay, the business will give direct service to the customer. Okay, because services we does not involve with the third party, does not involve with the logistic, for example, memang directly from business to customer. So that's why distance is play important uh, factor here. Okay, so distance from customer will influence sales revenue. In service business, cost saving may not contribute to sales revenue. Increase in revenue will contribute to increase in profit. Okay, so if the service company, let's say, try to search for a cheaper location, but very far from the customer, end up the customer will not come to the company, will not come to the restaurant, for example, because very far from from the customer. So the customer will opt for other alternative, will go to the other competitor, for example. Okay. So that's why service will try their best. Service company will try their best to have the location as near as they can to the customer, because service involved with direct service given to the customer. So these are the factors. Okay, distance from raw materials or supplier. For example, in case of the manufacturer, okay, if you can have the location nearby to the supplier, then it is good because you can save a lot of cost of transportation here. And then in terms of labor supply, does the labor can commute to the place? Okay. And then transportation, the price of land or rental, the infrastructure, okay, the climate, alright, the legal policy, security, and also facility for expansion and business development. These are the factors that need to be considered by the business in order to choose the location. And then you must identify the business and operation hours. There are two different things, okay, between business hours and operation hours. As for business hours, it refers to the time the business is open to the customer. That is business hour. But for the operation hours, refer to the hours the workers have to work. Okay, so please please be reminded that business hours is the time that the business is open to the customer, but for the operation hours is the time the business is open to the workers. The hours the workers have to work. For manufacturing, usually the business will operate on 8 hours per shift. Thus, the entrepreneur will only decide whether the business will run for one shift or more. This will depend upon the planning for production. Okay, so that's why in manufacturing company, okay, they will have 3 shifts. Okay, 8-hour shift in the morning, 8-hour shift in the evening, and 8-hour shift in the night, for example. For service business, the entrepreneur will have to state the business hours in terms of days and hours, because service business does not require operation hours. They will, once they open the business, okay, the customer will come in. Okay, so that's why service business are using the business hours. For example, restaurant may open to the customer from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. However, the operation hour for the workers will be different. Okay, the working hours may be from 5 a.m. to 12 a.m. for the preparation and also for the closing of the restaurant. The entrepreneur may have two shifts for the workers. The first shift will start from 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the second shift will start from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. And last but not least, under the operational plan is the budget. Okay, so budget ni sama macam budget dekat dalam marketing, administrative budget. Okay, the business need to estimate the budget for the operation activity. The operation budget can be categorized into fixed asset, monthly expenses, and also other expenses. This operation budget is important because it will be one of the input to prepare the financial plan. So this is examples of operation budget. Okay, so under machine, that is fall under fixed asset. And also renovation also falls under fixed asset. So you put the figure here under the fixed asset. And then for the raw material, wages, utilities, and also rental of the factory fall under monthly expenses, because the business need to pay it monthly. And for the deposit of rent and utilities fall under other expenses, because this is not monthly expenses. Okay, so we put it under other expenses. Okay, so I think that's all for this week for chapter 8. Okay, and I want you to start to do with your, please complete your marketing plan. okay, and start to start to do the operational plan. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thank you.